What's up, Force users and galactic historians? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most controversial takes in Star Wars lore. Why the ancient Sith Lords would absolutely demolish modern Sith in a cosmic throwdown. I'm talking about guys like Darth Revan, Exar Kun, and Naga Sadow, making Vader look like he just graduated from Padawan pre-K. Now, before you start typing, Vader is the chosen one in the comments. Hear me out. Because we're about to explore thousands of years of Sith evolution. So grab your holocrons, check your midi-chlorian levels, and let's find out why the old-school Sith were basically playing on legendary difficulty, while modern Sith were stuck on story mode. But first, smash that like button if you think Revan could take Vader in a fight. And subscribe for more galactic hot takes that'll make you question everything you know about a galaxy far, far away. Alright, let's start with the big picture. The ancient Sith weren't just dark side users, they were basically cosmic horror villains with lightsabers. We're talking about the period roughly 5,000 to 3,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, when the Sith weren't hiding in the shadows like some emo teenager in their room. Take the Great Hyperspace War, for example. Naga Sadow didn't just conquer a few planets, this madman weaponized stars. Yeah, you heard that right. While Vader was choking admirals for losing star destroyers, Naga Sadow was out here turning entire solar systems into weapons of mass destruction. And let's talk about Exar Kun for a hot minute. This guy didn't just fall to the dark side. He belly flopped into it so hard he became a literal dark side Nexus. He corrupted Jedi Masters just by existing in their general vicinity. Imagine if your Wi-Fi signal was pure evil and could turn people to the dark side. That was basically Exar Kun's Tuesday. The dude built temples so saturated with dark side energy, they're still dangerous thousands of years later. Meanwhile, what's the most lasting thing Vader built? A meditation chamber that looks like a fancy egg timer. But here's where it gets really wild. These ancient Sith weren't lone wolves. They commanded massive empires. The Sith Empire under Vitiate lasted for over 1,000 years. For comparison, Palpatine's empire barely made it to its 20th birthday, before getting bodied by teddy bears with sticks. And speaking of Vitiate, or Emperor Valkorion as he later called himself, this guy makes Palpatine look like a community college substitute teacher. We're talking about someone who literally consumed entire planets' life force just for a light snack. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of why these ancient Sith were basically playing a different sport entirely. It all comes down to one word: scale. Modern Sith think big when they blow up a planet. Ancient Sith thought big when they were reshaping galaxies. Darth Nihilus, and yes, I know he's more recent than some others, but stick with me, literally 8 planets. Not metaphorically, not through some complicated Death Star engineering project, he just ate them. The dude was so hungry for Force energy that he became a wound in the Force itself. Imagine being so powerful that reality itself gets indigestion, just from you existing. That's metal as hell. But let's talk about the real MVP of ancient Sith power, Darth Revan. This absolute unit didn't just master the dark side, he mastered both sides of the Force simultaneously. While modern Sith are out here arguing about whether feelings lead to suffering, Revan was out here using light and dark side powers in the same combo, like he's playing Mortal Kombat. The guy went from Jedi to Sith Lord to Jedi again to, well, it's complicated, okay? The point is, his understanding of the Force was so complete that he could literally rewrite his own identity. Try explaining that to a modern Sith. Oh, you fell to the dark side and can't come back? That's cute. I fall to the dark side every Tuesday, and I'm back to helping old ladies cross the street by Thursday. And then, there's the technology gap. Ancient Sith had star forges, massive space stations that could create infinite fleets by consuming stars. What do modern Sith have? The Death Star, which, okay, fair point, it's pretty impressive. But it took them 20 years to build one. The Star Forge was cranking out entire armadas like it was a cosmic 3D printer. Ancient Sith also had better fashion sense, but that's a topic for another video. Now we get to the part where everything went sideways, faster than Anakin's moral compass. Enter Darth Bane and his brilliant idea, the Rule of Two. On paper, it sounds smart. Hey, instead of having thousands of Sith constantly backstabbing each other, let's have just 2 really powerful ones. It's like going from a chaotic battle royale to a focused boss fight. But here's the thing. Bane accidentally created the most effective Sith nerfing system in galactic history. Think about it. For thousands of years, you had multiple Sith Lords pushing each other to greater heights of power through competition and collaboration. Sure, they were also constantly trying to murder each other, but that's just Tuesday in Sith culture. Ancient Sith academies, like those on Korriban, were pumping out dark side users like diploma mills, except instead of worthless degrees, they were creating living weapons of mass destruction. More Sith meant more experimentation, more knowledge sharing, more hold my blue milk and watch this moments that led to incredible discoveries. The rule of two turned this thriving ecosystem of evil into, well, a pyramid scheme. Except, instead of selling overpriced supplements, you're selling overpriced hatred. And there are only ever two people in your downline. This system lasted for 1,000 years, which means instead of having potentially thousands of Sith Lords advancing the dark arts, you had maybe 30 or 40 total across a millennium. That's not evolution. That's artificial scarcity. And what did this get us? Palpatine and Vader. Don't get me wrong, they're impressive. Palpatine conquered the galaxy, and Vader has the best entrance music in cinematic history. But compared to ancient Sith, who were literally consuming solar systems for breakfast, these guys are playing in the minor leagues. Here's another massive advantage the ancients had. They actually shared information. I know, revolutionary concept for Sith, right? Ancient Sith had vast libraries, holocrons galore, and actual institutions dedicated to dark side learning. The Sith Academy on Korriban wasn't just a spooky castle. It was basically evil Harvard, with a much better campus aesthetic. These guys documented everything. Want to learn how to drain life from planets? There's a holocron for that. Interested in binding your spirit to an object so you can terrorize people for millennia? Check out Aisle 7 in the ancient Sith library. Meanwhile, what did Palpatine pass down to Vader? Use your anger. And don't try it. That's it. That's the entire curriculum. It's like going from having access to the Library of Alexandria to getting your education from fortune cookies. And the specialization. Ancient Sith weren't just generically evil. They had mages. You had Sith alchemists who could create monsters that would make the Sarlacc pit look cuddly. Sith sorcerers who could manipulate reality itself. Sith warriors who could cut through starship hulls with their bare hands. What specializations did modern Sith have? Vader specialized in being tall and breathing loudly. Palpatine's specialty was cackling and shooting lightning. Don't get me wrong, both are valid career choices. But the ancient Sith had entire universities dedicated to creative applications of evil. The ancient Sith also understood something the rule of two forgot. Diversity of thought leads to innovation. When you have hundreds of Sith Lords all trying to out-evil each other, you get incredible breakthroughs in applied darkness. One guy figures out how to possess people, another learns to manipulate time. Someone else discovers how to create force storms that can destroy fleets, and they're all competing and building on each other's work. Under the rule of two, innovation became whatever the master knows, minus whatever they don't want to teach you, plus whatever you can figure out before they kill you for getting too strong. Now, let's talk about the opposition. Ancient Sith were dealing with Jedi who were frankly built different. These weren't the emotionally repressed monks who lose to sand Jedi of the prequel era. Ancient Jedi were warriors, scholars, adventurers, who understood that sometimes you need to get your hands dirty to protect the galaxy. Jedi like Revan, before he went full Sith, Bastila Shan, and the Exile, they weren't sitting around in meditation circles discussing their feelings. They were out there throwing down with Sith Lords in epic confrontations. That would make the Duel of Fates look like a polite disagreement. This meant ancient Sith had to be absolutely top tier just to survive, let alone thrive. It was evolutionary pressure at its finest. Only the most powerful, clever, and ruthless Sith could make it in this environment. Compare that to what Palpatine faced. Jedi who had spent 1,000 years in peacetime, following rigid rules that prevented them from adapting to threats. The Jedi Council was so out of touch they couldn't spot a Sith Lord, who was literally their next-door neighbor in the galactic government. It's like training for the Olympics by competing against toddlers, versus training by fighting other Olympic athletes. Guess which one produces better results? Ancient Sith Lords had to constantly innovate and push boundaries just to stay competitive. Modern Sith inherited a galaxy where their opposition had become complacent and dogmatic. Palpatine didn't conquer the galaxy through superior Sith mastery. He won through political manipulation, while facing Jedi who had forgotten how to fight a real war. That's not a testament to his power. That's a testament to how far the Jedi had fallen. And when the Jedi Order did finally fall, what did it take? Order 66. Basically a galactic-scale sucker punch that relied on clone troopers doing the heavy lifting. Now, let's talk gadgets and gizmos, because ancient Sith were basically the Tony Stark of evil space wizards. The Starforge alone puts every piece of Imperial technology to shame. This thing could create matter from energy, powered by the dark side itself. It was essentially a cosmic 3D printer that ran on pure hatred and bad vibes. Ancient Sith had weapons that could destroy souls, armor that made you immune to lightsabers, and ships that could phase in and out of reality. They had meditation spheres that could enhance their connection to the Force across interstellar distances. What did modern Sith have? A Death Star that took decades to build and had an exhaust port the size of a womp rat that could destroy the whole thing. That's not engineering. That's a design flaw so obvious it had to be intentional. Ancient Sith artifacts were so powerful they remained dangerous for millennia. Sith holocrons from this era could corrupt people just by being in the same room. The Muir Talisman could create armies of undead rat ghouls. The Crown of Veils could control the minds of entire populations. Modern Sith artifacts include Vader's meditation chamber and Palpatine's red bathrobes. I mean, they're stylish. But they're not exactly reality-warping superweapons, and the scale of their constructions. Ancient Sith built tomb complexes that were basically entire underground cities, filled with traps, monsters, and dark side energy. These places were so elaborate that exploring them became a Jedi rite of passage. If you could survive an ancient Sith tomb, you were ready for the real world. Modern Sith built another Death Star, bigger this time. But still with the same fundamental weakness. Shoot this one specific spot, and the whole thing explodes. So there you have it, Force fans. The ancient Sith weren't just more powerful than their modern counterparts. They were playing an entirely different game. They had superior numbers, better technology, more knowledge, stronger opposition that pushed them to greater heights. And most importantly, they understood that the dark side was about more than just anger and lightning fingers. Modern Sith became victims of their own success. The rule of two eliminated the very competition and collaboration that had made their predecessors so formidable. They traded an empire of darkness for a pyramid scheme of evil. Now, does this mean Vader couldn't beat some ancient Sith in a fight? Maybe not. Individual skill and circumstances matter a lot. But, as an overall civilization and ideology, ancient Sith were operating on a level that would make modern Sith look like they were still figuring out which end of a lightsaber to hold. So what do you think? Are there any ancient Sith Lords you believe could take on the entire modern Sith lineup? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more Star Wars deep dives that'll make you see the galaxy in a whole new light. Or darkness, in this case. Thanks for watching. And remember, the Force will be with you from a certain point of view.